flipping through your favorite true crime podcast or watching a documentary on Netflix about Jeffrey Dahmer. Suddenly, you feel a wave of curiosity, even empathy for the monsters whose crimes horrified the world. You might ask yourself, why am I drawn to this? Is this just morbid curiosity or something deeper? We live in a world that is fascinated by serial killers, people who have committed horrific crimes that we struggle to comprehend. But what if this fascination isn't just an anomaly? What if it's actually part of human nature? At some point, we've all watched a true crime series, read a crime novel, or scrolled through chilling articles online about infamous killers. Serial killers are everywhere in the media, from documentaries to podcasts to books and TV shows. But why are we so compelled to learn about these individuals? Are we just feeding into the dark curiosity? Or is this fascination with serial killers a natural part of human psychology? By understanding why we're so drawn to serial killers, we can better understand our own brains and our instincts toward horror and fear. As someone who has long been intrigued by psychology and human behavior, I've spent time researching why people are fascinated by serial killers. Drawing from studies by psychologists and experts like Dr. Colton Scivir and others, I've dived into the intersection of fear, fascination, and our desire for understanding. Additionally, through my exploration of books, documentaries, and scholarly research, I've gained insight into what's normal behind the obsession. The fascination with serial killers is a deeply ingrained part of human nature, rooted in our instincts to understand fear, process mortality, and explore the boundaries of our own psychological limits. First, I will explore how our brains are wired to respond to fear and violence, making the fascination with serial killers natural. Next, I'll dive into how we are drawn to psychology of serial killers and our desire to understand why these individuals commit such horrific acts. Finally, I'll discuss how the media and entertainment industries capitalize on this fascination and why that is not only normal but expected. Now that we set the stage, let's first examine how our brains are wired to respond to fear and violence, making the fascination with serial killers more than just morbid curiosity. Humans have evolved to respond to fear and danger. Our brains are designed to pay attention to threats in our environment, and this is a part of the reason we're drawn to the most extreme forms of danger. Like serial killers, according to Dr. Colton, a researcher in the field of psychology, we are hardwired to be fascinated by violence, particularly violent behavior and extreme abnormal. This fascination is not necessarily a desire to be violent ourselves, but rather a way to understand and categorize fear. In fact, when we engage with stories about serial killers, our brains experience a mix of fear and curiosity. A study published in Psychology Today suggests that people who consume true crime media even report feelings a sense of relief once the story concludes, because it provides a psychology resolution to the fear that they've experienced. This controlled exposure to danger allows us to confront fear in a safe environment. This is called parasocial fear. By exploring these horrific acts, we gain a sense of control to our own paranormal field responses, satisfying our psychological need to understand danger while remaining safely removed from it. This sense of control is what draws us back to the genre over and over again. Now that we understand why fear plays such a big role in our fascination with serial killers, let's explore how we are drawn to understand the psychology of serial killers themselves. Humans have an innate need to understand why behind extreme behaviors. Serial killers represent an extreme devastation from typical human behavior, making them a compelling mystery. We are not only interested in what they did, but also why they did it. This curiosity about minds of killers taps into our deep desire for answers about human nature. Researchers like Dr. Colton have noted that our attraction to serial killers often stems from the desire to understand what makes a person committed to such extreme acts. The more disturbing the behavior, the more our brains crave to understand and underlaying the psychology. For instance, Jeffrey Dahmer's case is fascinating not only because it's the horrific act that he committed, but also of the psychology mystery of why someone would commit such acts. As Dr. Colton explains, the complexities of human psychology, such as distinction between normal behavior and bad behavior, are what keep us engaged. Additionally, learning about our lives and behaviors of serial killers serves as a means to process fear. According to studies in psychology today, people often feel a sense of empathy for learning about a killer's psychology, as it provides insight into the mind of someone who has stepped in beyond social norms. Understanding these people allows us to understand our fears, giving a sense of control over the unknown. Having discussed the psychology reasons for our interest in serial killers, let's move on to how the media and entertainment industries leverage this fascination. The media plays a huge role in amplifying our nature curiosity. The entertainment industry has recognized our fascination with serial killers and has tailored content to meet this demand. From Netflix series like Mindhunter to the documentaries with conversations with killers and Ted Bundy tapes, the media exploits our interest by pretending these killers in ways that captivate and thrill us. While some may argue that this glorification is dangerous, others believe it is simply just reflection of human curiosity. Dr. Colton suggests that the portrayal of serial killers in media often serves as a tool for the public education about the darker aspects of human behavior. By providing these stories in a structural format, viewers can process the information and the emotional responses of Alex in a controlled way. However, the Sci-Fi Wire points out there is a human need to explore fear in a way that offers entertainment. In doing so, they allow us to explore the darker side of humanity, giving us a sense of insight and understanding, while also offering the emotional release of a horror film. Now that we've discussed the role of media in shaping our fascination, let's move toward concluding this exploration of serial killers and why it's normal to be fascinated by them. To summarize, our fascination with serial killers stems from our natural response to fear and danger. This intrigue is driven by psychology needed to understand why behind extreme behavior. Lastly, the media plays a significant role in implying our curiosity by presenting these stories in ways that engage and entertain us. Ultimately, the fascination with serial killers is not only normal, but deeply rooted in our psychology makeup. Our brains crave understanding, control over fear, and insight into darker aspects of human behavior. So, the next time you find yourself watching a documentary or reading about a notorious killer, don't be ashamed of your curiosity. It's a normal part of being a human, an instinctive need to understand the fear and danger in the world that often feels unpredictable and unsafe. Embrace it, for in the understanding of the darkness, we often find clarity about ourselves.